Hello everybody, welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Considering the fact that the last couple Q&A segments from Frontier over the last couple weeks were primarily focused on combat, it's a bit of a refreshing change of pace to go ahead and see that this week's Q&A segment is focused on exploration. Now, if you ask us what it may mean, I'm regarding to the first Footfall accolade. The first Footfall accolade in Elite Dangerous Odyssey will serve the same function that the first mapped or first discovered accolade does in the base game. Essentially tells other people that you were the first person at this planet, the first person to discover it, and the first person to walk on it on foot. However, there will be some limitations to what planets you can and cannot walk on, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Let's just go ahead and get in. Can and cannot walk on. Which ones you can and can't walk on are determined by the temperature and gravity of the planet. Frontier did not discuss the upper limits of the temperature and gravity of the planet, but I'm assuming you probably can't get out on foot on a 10G planet with a gravity of 10G planet in the middle of a neutron star cone. They also did say that the temperature and gravity of the planet is very high and exceeds city limits. The ship will not allow you to disembark at all. They did not say whether this would be impacted by engineering or not. That is something to watch going forward. Furthermore, they did mention that planets in populated systems and planets with historical impact or significance, such as the Moon or Earth, will not be part of the first Footfall accolade because it will be considered as being discovered by the people who have already lived in that system. To get the first Footfall accolade, you would have to go somewhere that's not particularly a populated system and land on and disembark on a planet that hasn't been discovered by somebody already. Essentially, kind of how it works in the base game already. They also did mention, they said there will be billions, yes, billions with a capital B, of landable planets, and that will constitute roughly about 20% more landable planets than what is currently in the current version of Elite Dangerous. That sounds interesting. We will definitely have to see how long, if they can keep all these planets interesting, or if we're going to suffer from the same flaws that the current procedural generation system has. Major things I should also mention is that you will be able to receive first Footfall accolades if you join an Odyssey after launch. So if you join a couple months after launch and you find an undiscovered landable planet, you land and disembark, you will still be able to receive a first Footfall accolade, and you will not be locked out of it. That is good move on Frontier's part, also a valid concern that was addressed properly. Another point is that first Footfall the accolade will not be shared between two commanders. So if you have two commanders who land in the same spot at the same time, whoever disembarks from their ship faster will get the first Footfall accolade, and that would depend on the server. Frontier did also say they would have some sort of team to resolve any disputes regarding the first Footfall accolades. So if one commander thought he got it, another commander thought it was his instead, Frontier would step in and resolve it, and they would also identify and stop people from using illegitimate means of achieving said accolades. The last couple things I would like to mention is that there will be no limits imposed onto how many planets you can land on or settle on. So what I mean by this is there will be limits imposed on which planets you can land on, but among the planets that you can land on, you will not have a hard cap of how many you can get the first Footfall accolade on. So if you wanted to explore the entire galaxy and land on as many planets that come with Odyssey as possible and get the first Footfall accolade, you would be well able to do that. The next thing I would also like to mention is that with the first Footfall accolades, you get the accolade for landing on a planet and being the first one to land on a planet. Finding a POI or wreck on a planet does not net you that accolade. So you have to land on the planet and be the first one on the planet and not just discover a wreck to get the accolade. Finally, I'd like to mention again that if you don't start at launch, you still be able to get the first Footfall accolade, akin to how it works in the current version of the game. And then finally, I would like to mention that if you change your name, so let's say your commander name is Bob, and you get a first Footfall accolade for a planet and system, and you change your name to Dave, the first Footfall accolade will still be listed under Commander Bob. So essentially, with the way this works is that any previous discoveries or first Footfalls that were made under the name of Commander Bob will stay with Commander Bob, and then any new discoveries or Footfalls that will be made with Commander Dave will stay with Commander Dave. So essentially, that is all I have for you folks. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you guys next week when I make another one. Have a good day and enjoy your weekend. Stay warm, folks.